Hello, welcome to Lil's Vintage World and welcome back to Tudor Timber. In this video I'm going to talk to you about the Tudor related books of historical fiction that I have sat on my bookshelves on my TBR. Now these are just the books that I want to read. There are some books that I'd quite like to reread, including the Six Wives series by Alison Weir. I'd really like to reread those, and just there, that is the Elizabeth books by Alison Weir as well, but I'll save that for another day. Let me share with you the historical fiction books that I have that I want to read for the first time that were sat on my shelves, and I'm going to share it with you now. So these are all my to-be-reads Tudor historical fiction. So the first book that I have to share with you is from the 1960s, and it's by Maureen Peters, and it's Mary, the Infamous Queen. This is about Mary the First, as in Mary Tudor, Bloody Mary, whatever you want to call her. I think she would appreciate being called Mary the First. And this is about her life, her relationship with her sister, her relationship with her husband, her relationship with religion. And yeah, I've had this on my shelves for a few years and I haven't been in the mood to pick it up, but actually I'm quite in the mood to read this now actually, so I might get this sooner than I think. Then a book from the 1950s, but obviously not this edition. This is not a 1950s edition, but this is Evelyn Anthony Anne Boleyn in this cover, which I'm not sure if I love it or hate it. I think I'm leaning more towards the latter. But I think this is meant to be Anne Boleyn at Hever, although not very historically accurate at all. This is, I think it's kind of like romancy feel about it book. I don't know. I just saw it. I've heard good things, so we will see. It's survived for a long time and obviously been republished over the years, so we'll see. Another vintage book. This one's from the 1970s, and this is The Tudor Rose by Julia Watson, a novel of Henry VIII's third wife, Jane Seymour. You don't usually see books that are on Jane. Usually you see them, if they're kind of standalone, and they're usually like on Anne or Catherine Parr, of course, because she's the last one. But yeah, this is Jane Seymour, which is exciting to read about, because I read a book which was The King's Wife, and that was by Ursula Bloom. It's from the 1950s, but I really enjoyed that, and that was on Jane Seymour, so we'll see how I got on with this one. Exciting. Never read anything by Julia Watson before. I was just, you know, Googling away. Yeah, and came across this, so excited to give it a go. Then we have my most recent pickup. That is Lady Penelope by Lena Kennedy. I think this is again a vintage sort of 1980s, so 1983. Now I am guessing that because it talks about getting caught up in Elizabeth's court, so I'm guessing this is Elizabeth, that is daughter of Lettice Knowles, because she was Penelope. So we shall see. If so, it's going to be really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, definitely give it a try, although not the biggest fan of this cover. Then we have a children's historical fiction. This is Eliza Rose by Lucy Wesley. I picked this up at a charity shop. I think it was super cheap, like 50p or something, and it looks unread, to be honest. I think this is, oh, look how beautiful. I think this is around Catherine Howard. I think, yes it is, set around time of Catherine Howard. So of course Catherine Howard, great rise but great fall, but beautiful edition, and it'll be really interesting to see how Lucy Wesley writes fiction. I've read a couple of her non-fiction and rather enjoyed them, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how she writes her fiction. Of course this is children's fiction. Don't know if she's written any adult fiction. Then we have Queen's Gambit by Elizabeth Fremantle. I have heard great things from this. I know Julie, Channel Hungry Bookworm, does really enjoy Elizabeth Fremantle, so I'm excited to give this a whirl. This is Catherine Parr. This is on Catherine Parr, and I love Catherine Parr, so I think I'll love it. It is quite a big book though. But I'm hoping it's going to be one of those feel like holiday reads, you know, the ones where you just keep reading because they're just so addictive. I'm hoping it's going to be one of those. We'll see. And then just to finish off, I have 3 actual vintagey books. First of all, I have Tudor Pavan by M. Brooke Stoker. This is stunning. All of these books I will display better on my Instagram, but this one is signed by the author himself, which is amazing. This is from 1951, and this is about Mary the First again. But Tudor Pavan is a dance, I believe. But there's Mary. And I'm really excited to get to this. I want to read historical fiction on Mary. Yes, please. I do feel a bit sorry for Mary, actually. I feel like Mary is very much misunderstood. Anybody else feel like that, or was that just me? Then we have Young Bess by Margaret Irwin. These are really quite famous books and have been going and have been republished again and again and again. They're a series of books, actually. This being the first one. I have it in this lovely vintage edition that is kind of falling apart a little bit, so I might have to try and stick it back together somehow, but excited to start the series. I do own another one, the series on there somewhere, but yeah, excited to make a start with it. And then finally, last but not least, the book that I'm most excited to begin, and that is because it's the most beautiful cover ever, and that is this one. This is The Young Elizabeth by Jeanette and Francis Letton, their husband and wife. It's the most beautiful cover. As I said, I'll show you greater on my Instagram account, but it's just beautiful. And this is going to be Elizabeth when she's, you know, Lady Elizabeth. So when she's a child and pre-queen, let's say. That's where I think we are with this. So excited to read it. Hopefully it's going to be really, really good. I think this is from the, when are you from? 1940s, 1950s? Do you say, mate? 1954. Yeah. And it's in the most beautiful condition. So, yes. So happy to start reading those. So those are my Tudor books, historical fiction, TBR. Let me know what you think of these. Have you read any of them? If you have, let me know what you think of them in the comment section. Let me know what you think of my little collection in general anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I shall see you soon for the next video. Bye for now.